Hi, I'm Tanner Coy, owner of Tweed's Fine Furnishings, and I'm pleased to be here today with Robert Zuluaga, candidate for Woodland Park City Council. I support Robert for City Council for a number of reasons, and thought we'd take a few minutes just to sit here and talk through some of that and let you get to know Robert.
So if you just look at those numbers, okay, if they want us to isolate for 15 days and that number is a good way to contain this, then it's not the end of the world. But I think we're going to see this for a bit longer. I think it's going to affect us economically for until they get, the bell curve does its thing and comes down. We're going to be at this longer than 15 days. So what does that look like? What's that look like for our community? What's that look like as we move forward? And what's that look like for our business community? Let me ask you, what's that look like for you? How's business been the last week?
Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Don't know that we've seen an average of 2 people per day come through
Wow.
my business.
And you have the 6-foot rule works fine in your store.
It's very easy to abide by.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Business community, vision for Woodland Park involving the business community and the council and others coming together, and described a bit of a process for bringing that about and identifying vision. And why is the business community a part of that? What's the importance there?
Society is made up of businessmen and women. Society creates wealth from the business sector, not the government sector. And we have tended in our society now to look to the government to solve all of our problems. That's so un-American. It's so un-American. Back at the end of the First World War, we had 11% of our GDP was of our resources went into the government. By the time George Bush Jr. came in, we were at 40 or 45% was spent in the government sector. And when Obama took office, we went from 50 to 60% of our expenditures being in the government. You can't survive as a culture and as a people counting on your government, all that top-heavy, non-productive work generating income. They don't generate income. So the same is true in Woodland Park. We have over $20 million worth of debt in our city. We're looking for the government to solve all our problems, and that's simply not the way a community can thrive. It has to come from the business sector. So if we look to stimulate the business sector to do what they do best, to draw business from outside of our community to our community to spend their dollars, then the government can take their share in terms of taxation and facilitate the undergirding support for the community. But you can't have it by thinking that you grow your government and you're going to strengthen your community. You're not.
I love it. Well said. Well said.
And I come that way because I came out of small business, and I understand that nobody's going to be making things happen for me. I make them happen, or I go hungry. And so as a businessman, you learn to be creative and make things happen. That's not to say that that's not important for people who are salaried and people who want a secure income and who aren't drawn to small business. But our culture has to recognize, and our community has to recognize, it's the business that is the lifeline of our community. And if business dies, and if business is languishing in our community is languishing. So I have a vision that we don't languish, that we thrive, and the way to do that is to start putting our heads together as not only from a government to get out of the way and to facilitate it in terms of balanced regulations and ordinances and laws that allow a level playing field, but then the businessman comes in and goes, I think I can make this happen in that community because I can count on the government not being in my way.